Well, that's us snapped right back to reality, guys. We thought Slot had steadied the ship with those two back-to-back wins against Villa and Real Madrid, but this game against City was a harsh reminder of how far we still have to go. A 3-0 loss at the Etihad, and suddenly the gap between us and the top spots has stretched even further, making our chances of defending the title look slimmer by the week. The real sting, though, wasn't just the scoreline, it was the performance, especially in that first half. Sure, Van Dijk's goal that got ruled out for whatever reason could have shifted the momentum and dragged us back into the match, but even that doesn't excuse how poor we were, both technically and tactically. We get it, reliving losses is never fun. But to move forward, we have to understand exactly where things went wrong in games like this. And there's actually something that hasn't been talked about enough, a key difference between last season's clash with City and this one. So make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's dive straight into it. Slot stuck to the old saying, never change a winning team, and so our starting lineup was identical to the one that faced Real Madrid. Mamardashvili kept his place in goal, with Andrew Robertson, Virgil van Dijk, Ibrahima Konate, and Connor Bradley forming the backline. In midfield, the title-winning trio of Ryan Gravenberch, Alexis McAllister, and Dominic Szoboszlai stayed together, while up front we had Mo Salah, Hugo Ekitike, and Florian Wirtz leading the attack. But the warning signs were there right from the start. And yes, it's easy to say that in hindsight, but even before kickoff, there were reasons to be cautious. We'd seen how City tore through Bournemouth's press the previous week, moving the ball with ease and pulling defenders all over the place. So when it became clear that Guardiola was setting up in a similar way against us, there was every reason to be concerned. You can see it clearly here. City dropped both Rodri and Bernardo Silva deep, pushed their fullbacks high and wide, and had their wingers tuck inside. That setup gave them control in multiple areas, superiority against our first pressing line, width to stretch our defensive shape, and overloads through the middle that we struggled to deal with from the very beginning. And guess what? That's exactly what they did against us. You can see the same setup again, Bernardo and Nico dropping deep, both fullbacks pushed high and wide, and the wingers tucking inside alongside Foden. The outcome was predictable, a simple pass straight through our midfield line to Doku. You can see how Gravenberch and McAllister were pinned by Foden and Cherki, leaving Doku completely free to receive the ball. Now you might ask, why didn't Bradley close Doku down earlier? Well, take a look at Nico O'Reilly on the left side, holding the width and ready to make that overlapping run. Bradley couldn't afford to step out and leave that space behind him, or City would have exploited it instantly. So he had to stay put, which allowed Doku to operate freely in that channel. That entire sequence led to City's first real dangerous progression into our defensive third. And unfortunately, we didn't seem to learn from it. We kept trying to press high, hoping to force mistakes or push them into going long, but it played right into their hands. They often found Haaland, who did exactly what he's known for, holding up the ball and laying it off perfectly for Cherki, Doku, or Foden to drive forward. Their narrow setup made those quick link-ups even more effective, and we looked completely unprepared to deal with it. City didn't just trouble us when they had the ball, they gave us plenty of problems when defending too. Guardiola set up his press in a way that deliberately funneled our build-up toward the right-hand side. You can see how Haaland curved his pressing run toward our goalkeeper, keeping Van Dijk in his cover shadow and completely cutting him out of the passing options. That left only one choice, to go toward Konate. As soon as the ball went to him, Foden immediately jumped into press, forcing Konate even wider to the right. Under that pressure, Ibu tried to play a long ball toward Gravenberch, but he couldn't bring it under control. City pounced on the loose ball, earned a free kick, and wasted no time playing it quickly to Doku. Moments later, Doku won them a penalty, which thankfully Mamardashvili managed to save. It was a perfect example of how City's pressing traps worked. They didn't just chase the ball aimlessly, every movement had purpose, cutting off options and forcing us into risky situations we couldn't play our way out of. Would you believe us if we said Guardiola used the exact same pressing setup against us last season, but that time it backfired on him instead of working perfectly? You can actually see it in this clip. Foden pressed Van Dijk from the outside in, forcing him to play toward the right-hand side. Konate then picked out Salah, who quickly laid it off to Trent. From there, Trent sent a clever ball over the top, right back to Salah, who broke in behind and created a dangerous moment that ended with Szoboszlai's goal in the match we went on to win. It's the same pressing shape, the same intentions, but a completely different outcome. Back then, we found the solution: clean, direct passing and smart movement that broke through their structure. This time around, we couldn't replicate that sharpness or speed, and it showed in how easily City dictated the rhythm of the game. Now, with Trent no longer in the squad, we've clearly lost that deep-lying passer who could slice through entire pressing structures with one swing of his boot. Ibrahima Konate, to be fair, isn't the poor passer people often label him as. But for him to really show that side of his game, he needs certain conditions, like playing out wide or having the pitch open up diagonally in front of him. Connor Bradley, on the other hand, is great on the ball in many ways, comfortable carrying it forward, confident in tight spaces, but those long line-breaking passes just aren't part of his skill set. And let's be honest, not many players, especially fullbacks, can pick out passes the way Trent used to. So it's fair to ask the question, did we make a mistake by not bringing in someone who could offer that kind of range and vision? That ability to instantly switch play or bypass the press is something we've missed badly in games like this. Of course, credit where it's due, City were absolutely unstoppable in possession. That first goal was a masterclass in ball manipulation and disguise. They pulled us out of shape, played through our press, and punished us ruthlessly. The second came from a deflection, sure, but it felt inevitable given how the game was going. And while we did show a bit more control at the start of the second half, Doku's goal completely finished us off. He was simply unplayable on the day, and that strike summed up the gap between the two sides. Alright guys, that pretty much sums up this one. It's hard to take, no doubt about it. Losses like this hit harder because they remind us just how high the bar has been set and how much work we still have to do to get back there. What hurts most isn't just the scoreline, it's the feeling that we didn't play our football. We looked hesitant, second to everything, and too reactive instead of proactive. But that's part of the journey, isn't it? Every new system takes time. Every setback teaches you something, and it's up to the players and the manager to learn fast and bounce back stronger. There's still plenty of football left to play this season, and while the title race might feel like it's slipping away, there's no reason to stop believing. The foundations are there. We've got young talent, experienced leaders, and a manager who clearly has a vision for how he wants this team to play. What's missing right now is consistency and that ruthless edge we used to have. Once that clicks, we'll be right back in the fight. Let us hope this clicking doesn't take too much time, because as we all know, results are crucial to keep the environment positive and the morale high, which will help us develop quickly. So yeah, this one stings, but it's not the end of the world. What matters is how we respond. The next few weeks will tell us a lot about the mentality in that dressing room. Let's hope this loss becomes the turning point. Anyway, if you made it this far, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's keep believing, Reds, we go again.